Now, shifting away, of course, from Heritage Day, over the weekend, Israeli occupation forces entered the Al Jazeera bureau office in Ramallah and shut it down. And there was confiscation that is currently happening at that place. And it comes at a time where questions about press freedom and the ability to cover the current genocide in Gaza continues to be question. Of course, in previous attacks on Gaza, we have seen many of the press agencies' buildings being bombed in that part of Palestine, which is restricting the media freedom for covering what is currently happening within that part of the country. Joining me now, I'd like to welcome Waleed Alomari, who is the Al Jazeera bureau chief in Palestine. Waleed, assalamu alaikum, jazakallah, shukran so much for joining us here on Hilaal TV.
Thank you very much that you have enough time for me just to feel something about what we are suffering and passing in this area.
No, it's an absolute pleasure.
Under the Israeli occupation.
No, it's an absolute pleasure hosting you, Waleed. Waleed, talk to us about it. I mean, we saw the pictures and the videos. They enter the building, you are right there, and they just told you, well, you have to get out. And from there, of course, you have no knowledge of what is currently happening. It's clear they've shut the office down. There is confiscation that is happening. Am I right?
Until now, we don't know what the situation of our office inside, because when they broke into our office 3 o'clock after midnight, a huge number of soldiers, one of my colleagues said that he counted 17 soldiers, and some of them with masks, with their weapons, and they came to the office. And when I went to the door just to check, they said that they have ordered to close our office and we have to leave within 10 minutes first. Then come another commander and said, you have only 2 minutes and you can take only the personal things. And after that, the soldiers combined us outside the building. We were in the 8th floor, and they pushed us in the steps until the ground. And after that, they start continue after us, follow us until we were far from the offices. A huge number of patrols. I think more than 20 Israeli military cars and vehicles. They came to the area. They invaded Ramallah that night, and they closed the whole roads and the El Manara Square Center, where our office is based in city center building, and the majority of their cars and soldiers were in Shireen Abu Akli Street. This is our address there, where there is the building. And after that, they exploded the entrance to the building and went upstairs to the 8th floor and came to our office. They broke into the office, and after that, we left. We waiting outside more than 3 hours. When we went back after they withdrew from the area and they left, we found that they closed the main door of the office with rusty irons, blades and sheets, and they fixed and strengthened all of them with welding. Which means that nobody can enter, and it's very ugly to see your office in this situation. And they have 3 or 4 sheets in this iron plates. One was the order in Hebrew, and the order is from the Israeli commander and the Israeli military commander in the West Bank, and the other 3, it's least about what they confiscated from our office. It was laptops, computers, cameras, and many other things. The situation inside the office, we don't know. Now it's closed, and for 40 days. The order, the amazing thing that this order is based in the emergency mandate British law from 1945. Which mean and the accusation in this order that this place, they said about the office, this place is incitement and supporting terror about our office. They said that. And when they took this decision and came to our office to implement it, it means that they extended the aggression against our office in Jerusalem and banning our working inside Israel since the 5th of last May, and they renew it every 45 days. And the same now, it's closed for 45 days. This aggression it's against the press, against the freedom, against the human rights in the Palestinian territories. Ramallah must be under the Palestinian Authority according to the Oslo agreements. But now it's clear that all the West Bank is under the Israeli occupation, and who controlling things there is the Israeli authorities and the settlers, not only Ramallah, all the West Bank. And this part of the war, this is a new aggression, and it's a part of the war. It's amazing why they need to send so huge number of soldiers with masks, and to send this huge number of vehicles, military vehicles, just to close office without they have any kind of accusation or excuses. All their accusations and excuses, they are lying. Our office is not supporting terror. Our office just covering the reality. And I told many Israelis before, when you are doing war, we covering war. When you are doing peace, we covering peace. But you are now this escalation everywhere in the Middle East because this far-right government and coalition, that they just want to escalate the situation all the time and to continue the killing everywhere in the Middle East.
Waleed, I want to touch on the amount of journalists that have been killed during the start of the genocide in Gaza. Many journalists have been killed. It's over the hundreds figure. You know, 2 years ago, you mentioned Shireen Abu Akleh, and she was killed in broad daylight by Israeli occupation forces. How much more does the Palestinian media fraternity need to voice their concerns to the international community that press freedom continues to be under attack in Palestine?
Thank you first that you mentioned this issue, and our colleague, their colleague Shireen Abu Akleh. Yesterday, you know what they did in the office? We have a big picture for Shireen Abu Akleh in the front of the office. They cut it. They destroyed it. We don't know what's happened. They killed her in the 11th of May 2022 in Jenin, and now they attacked even the picture. Since the first day of this war in Gaza, in the 7th of October until now, and we are in the 353 day of this war, 174 Palestinian journalists were killed by the Israeli airstrikes and the Israeli fire. Some of them, and they males and females, some of them were their families. We in Al Jazeera, 4 of our colleagues were killed during this war. And in our office, we have posters and pictures for all of them. I don't know if they also cut and destroyed all these pictures. This means that the Palestinian journalists targeted by the Israeli forces. There is no another interpretation about that. You know, before this war, before the 7th of October, 104 Palestinian journalists were killed since the first day of the Israeli occupation in June 1967 until the 7th of October, last October. And now you have another 174 Palestinian female and male journalists who were killed by the Israelis since the first day of this war. And why they have to target the journalists? This is the big question. And who can protect these journalists? Some of them, they were passed with their families. They attacked homes. And everyone remember the story of our colleague Waleed Alomari and his family. First, they attacked, they asked the people of Gaza and obliged them to leave in the first month, to leave from northern Gaza to South Gaza. And after they attacked the home where they refuge in Sirat refugee camp, where his wife and his kids were, and his wife and 2 kids were killed. After that, also attacked a car, was his son, eldest son was in that car, and they killed him. They killed our cameraman in Khan Yunis, Samer Abu Daqqa. And after that, Ismail Ismail Ghul and many of them, and they targeted families of our colleagues. You know, we have one colleague, his name is Mu'min Shrafi. They targeted his family, they killed 22 person from his family, his father and his mother, and 2 of his brothers and their families and others in Jabalia refugee camp. You know, it's amazing. They're targeting how journalists can act, how journalists can do their professional duty just to provide and to tell the people what is happening. What's happening here, there is a war. Israel attacking Gaza now, and they attacking Gaza all the time, and there are a lot of victims in the area. And this is what they are covering in the area. You know, in the 7th of October also, we covered what's happened in Gaza envelope about the Israelis. And we continue also, we're covering the hostages families all the time inside Israel until the 5th of October, and they interviewed all of them. You know, Jazeera is broadcasting even all the press conferences of the Israeli officials, including the IDF spokesperson and the Prime Minister and others. And many Arabs they didn't feel they're attacking us because we have all these Israelis. Now they closed our office in Jerusalem. They banned us from working inside Israel. Now they closed our office in Ramallah after this aggression, and they broke into the office with a huge number of soldiers, some of them with masks, and I don't understand why they need masks while they have a lot of weapons with them. And they attacking Palestinian journalists, and it's very difficult for Palestinian journalists, not only Jazeera, even to move inside the West Bank, because there are a lot of big points everywhere, and the settlers gangs controlling the main streets in the West Bank, and they attacking people in their homes in the villages and attacking Palestinian cars. Not only in Gaza that the Israeli military is attacking, they're attacking also in the West Bank. And it's very difficult for Palestinian journalists to do their professional duty under these terrifying circumstances that the Israelis implement in the ground in the West Bank and in Gaza and everywhere, even inside Israel, inside the Green Line. Now, this war is continue. We are in the few days before the end of the first year. They are escalating the situation. I believe that maybe they implement the closure in our office in Ramallah because they're going to escalate the situation also, not only in Lebanon, not only in Gaza, also in the West Bank.
That's Waleed Alomari, Al Jazeera Bureau Chief in Palestine. Jazakallah so much for staying with us. So that's all we have for you on News in Focus. Don't forget, tomorrow, a Heritage Day special across the channel. From myself, Faraz Patel, and the rest of the team in Johannesburg, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.